This playthrough is rated M for mature.
Greetings and salutations, viewers. Vauldemare back here with more Hakuōki, Stories of the Shinsengumi. In the last episode, we got it. I'm sorry. In the last episode, we got ourselves a new place to stay, and we were all getting acquainted. Sanin got used to his abilities as being basically a vampire that doesn't drink blood or a dead guy. I don't know. And then we found out that the Shogun's coming to town. Hooray! Now we just gotta figure out how we're gonna prepare for it, and hopefully nothing bad happens while the Shogun appears. Let's continue the adventure. Don't give me that. I'm asking if you're coming with us or not. I can go too?
無論構わないとも。君も今や新選組の一員と言っても過言ではない。よかったらぜひ参加してくれ。
Of course, we certainly won't mind. After all, you're practically one of us. If you want, I'd love to have you come. Could I really go? I hesitated for a moment, confused, and Okita and Hisuke left.
まあ、身の心配はないと思うよ。将軍を狙う不届きな輩はそうはいないから。
You don't need to worry about yourself, kid. No one's gonna be stupid enough to try to attack the Shogun. Dun dun dun.
行ってみるのもいいんじゃねえの。切った張ったの騒ぎにはならないだろうし。
Why don't you go? I'd be surprised if anyone did so much as draw a sword. It didn't seem quite fair to me that I wasn't even a soldier and I could go, while they were stuck back at the compound. Still, I had felt drained lately, and with the lack of information we've been able to cover about my father, perhaps it'd be just the same to cheer me up. I'll go! Perhaps the excitement of the occasion was infectious, as I felt a steel in my spine that hadn't been there before. If so, however, it appears Hijikata was immune.
お前にやってもらうことは伝令とか主に使いっ走りだがな。覚悟しとけ。
Come down, you're just carrying messages for us. Carrying messages. Think you can handle it? And end scene. Right, left, right, left. My footsteps echoed softly through the night. Ow, my legs are starting to cramp up. I decided it was best to take a short break and stop to look up at the castle. In the early days of the Tokugawa shogunate, Nijo Castle had been a place for the shogun to stay on his way to the capital. It had been a while since the shogun had actually stayed in it, though. We met the shogun on the road and began our escort about 30 minutes earlier and arrived at the castle relatively recently. By now, I imagine Kondo, Nagakura, Inui, and the men were greeting the officials and other important people in the shogun's retinue. Well, I've got a job to do. More specifically, it's my job to tell all the soldiers when to change shifts, and generally carry messages back and forth. A glorified errand girl, in other words. This means I'm not totally useless, right? Time to get back to work, then. Even a short walk around Nijo Castle was enough to see several blue jackets, all of them on guard, none of them nervous or anxious. Well, of course, after all, the castle's really well guarded. Only an idiot would try to... A sudden chill ran down the length of my spine. I froze. Oh! I knew the feeling. 2 feet of cold steel waiting to find their way into you. Eyes shining with a lust for blood and violence. I had never hoped to find myself accustomed to such a horrible thing, but in the time since I began living with the Shinsengumi, I had felt it more than once. I suppose they would have called what I felt radiating from the shadows bloodlust. My eyes were drawn up towards the roof, where no normal person would ever think to look. A large wall cast a shadow, shielding a section of the roof from the moonlight. There they stood. You!
気づいたか。さほど鈍いというわけでもないようだな。
So, you noticed us! Not too slow, then! They looked very distinctive, unlike any soldier I've ever seen before. But 3 sets of piercing eyes scattered my thoughts and made it difficult for me to think. I had recognized them, now I had to put names to faces. Chikage Kazama. Shikage Kazama, a man with ties to Satsuma Domain who claims to be a demon. He has a very specific interest in the heroine. Apparently we know that now. Who knew? I mean, he hadn't really appeared much until this point in the story. Unless you chose to save Okata back then you would have run into him. But, I mean, we've run into him. Kyuji Amagiri. A mysterious person involved with the Satsuma Domain. He claims to be a demon. When did that happen? And Kyo Shiranui, the gun dude. A person who associates himself with Choshu Domain. He appears to be a demon. They were connected somehow to both the Satsuma and the Choshu, and they made an effort to impede the Shinsengumi at Ikeda and again at Homaguri. Whoever they were, they did not belong at the Shogun's castle. Why are you here?
あ？なんでってのが方法を言ってんなら答えは簡単だ。俺ら鬼の一族には人が作る障害なんざ意味をなさねんだよ。
Hey, little girl, you ought to be asking yourself how we got here, not why. It was pretty easy, you know. A little human wall doesn't mean shit to a demon.
そう。私たちはある目的のためにここに来た。君を探していたのです。
We are here for a specific purpose. That purpose is you, Hanada Yukimura. We are here for you. I don't understand. A demon? What do you mean? Why are you here for... No, you must be joking.
鬼を知らぬ。本気でそんなことを言っているのか。我が腹からともあろうものが。
Huh, how can you ask what a demon is? Perhaps you're the one joking here. After all, you are one just like us. He stepped forward, the shadows following him like a cloak. When Amagiri spoke, it was calm and peaceful, as if he were trying to reason with a frightened child.
君はすぐに怪我が治りませんか?
Do your injuries heal quickly? Too quickly, perhaps? What?
波の人間とは思えないぐらい怪我の治りが早くありませんか?
Do you heal from injuries faster than any human could? Well, I couldn't bring myself to answer that, so I pursed my lips and remained silent instead. Or you could call out to people and have them help you because you're being surrounded by enemies. But whatever. Shiranui's eyes narrowed.
ああ？なんなら血ぶちまけて証明した方が早いか?
Oh, what the hell? Maybe it'd be quicker if we just gave a demonstration.
よせ知らぬい。否定しようが肯定しようが、どのみち俺たちの行動は変わらん。
Enough, Shiranui. I don't care if she admits it or not. We're here for a reason, and that hasn't changed. His eyes dropped to the Kadachi at my waist.
多くは語らん。鬼を示す生徒、東の鬼の子たち。それのみで証拠としては十分に過ぎる。
Her family name's the demon, and she carries the demon of the East Kadachi. That is enough evidence. My family name? What was wrong with Yukimura? I didn't understand what he was saying, but they didn't stop the cold sweat that I could feel inches down my spine. It felt almost as though the darkness itself was coming for me.
言っておくが、お前を連れて行くのに同意など必要としていない。
Then again, it isn't as though we need your permission to kidnap you.
女鬼は貴重だ。共に来い。
Female demons are rare. Now come with me. His hand stretched out from the darkness, pale and grasping like the tentacle of some hideous subterranean monster. Then, out of nowhere, a blade flickered through the night.
おいおい、こんな色気のない場所、合いびきにしちゃ趣味が悪いぜ。
Well, hey there, pal. Trying to pick up chicks in the back alley. That's not creepy at all.
またお前たちか。田舎の犬は目端だけは聞くと見える。
You again! The culture in the nose of a dog, I see!
それはこちらのセリフだ。
One could say the same of you. Sword and spear glinted in the moonlight, and Kazama stepped back, momentarily stymied. Harada, Saito! My legs felt suddenly weak, as if the now shattered tension had been the only thing keeping me standing. I teetered backwards, my balance momentarily lost. A strong, sinewy hand caught me and pulled me back, its grip hard as steel.
下がっていろ。
Stay back. Hijikata. One hand guided me around behind him, even as the other drew his sword.
将軍の首でも取りに来たかと思えば、こんなガキ一人に一体何の用だ。
I figured you'd here for the Shogun's head. What do you want from a kid?
将軍も貴様らも今はどうでもいい。これは我ら鬼の問題だ。
I'm little interested in you or the Shogun at the moment. The matter at hand concerns only we demons.
鬼だと。
Demons? His eyes narrowed.
こいつの面を拝むのは金門の変以来だな。
Hey, haven't seen these punks since Hamaguri. Hey, Irish. Hey, Evans. Haven't seen these punks since Hamaguri. Man, I'm just ruining too many voices, man. As Harada drew his spear back to a ready position, I saw Shiranui's hand move towards the gun at his hip.
再会という意味ではこちらも同じくだ。
True, though I
何
feel
の考え
little.
もわかんな。
True, though I feel little at this reunion. Saito's hand tightened around his sword, and Amagiri's feet shifted into a stronger stance. Tension hung in the air so thick I could scarcely breathe. They were a powder keg, ready to explode. Even the slightest movement could be enough to set him off. As slowly as I could, I moved my trembling hand towards the hilt of my kodachi. I nearly reached it when a voice whispered in my ear.
副長たちの心配は無用だ。
Wow, that got really whispered because I could barely hear it in my headset, although I don't have it turned up that loudly, but don't worry about the commander and the captains. Yamazaki, when did you... He appeared as silently invisible as he had been a shadow himself.
副長の命だ。君はこのまま俺が屯所まで連れて行く。
I've been ordered to return you to headquarters. Then you're telling me to run away? It was true that if I remained, it was unlikely it could actually be of help to anyone. Alright, here we go. We don't have no choice, so... Even for helping and odd for headquarters. Oh, we got an even. So, I want to remain here! Because I'm a moron. I'm gonna stay here. Yamazaki's brow twitched momentarily in surprise.
君は状況を理解していない。君が残って何ができる？
You don't understand. What do you hope to accomplish by remaining here? I know that staying here might not be the smartest idea, and I know that I probably won't be able to help. In fact, I might even get in the way. But I have to. I'm sorry. They called me a demon and told me to come with them. I still didn't know what they meant by that. I needed to know the truth.
君にも何か残るに足る理由があるのだろう。自分を貫くのが悪いことではない。
You have a reason to stay, then. In conviction, I can admire that.
だが、それは俺も同じこと。命令を遂行する。それが俺にとって自分を貫くということだ。
Unfortunately, I have my orders. Just as you remain true to what you believe is right, so must I. What? Probably punches you in the... Oh, never mind. In most cartoons, they just punch him in the stomach and just take him out. But, you know, punching someone in the stomach doesn't auto-knock him out. It just hurts, like a punk. Yamazaki reached for my arm, ready to take me with him by force. His hand had nearly reached me when I felt a bolt of lightning race up my spine. I spun around to see Shiranui, his hands wrapped tight around the grip of his pistol, and his eyes aflame with the heart of a blacksmith's forge.
Hey, hey, 待てって。お姫さんが残るっつってんだろ。振られて邪魔してんじゃねえよ。
Hold on there, buddy. Oh, sorry. Hold on there, buddy. The princess says she wants to stay, so she stays. You gotta learn when to let a girl go. God, I can't do my Schwarzenegger today. Though it's not like I was very good at it to begin with. Yeah. With his last words, Shiranui launched himself towards us, just as Harada leapt to intercept him.
やれやれ。時に拙速はコーチに勝りますが、知らぬいの手の速さも考えものですね。
There are times when quick decisions are important, but Shiranui's short temper can be problematic.
そういうあんたも止めなかったようだがな。
Perhaps, but you seem uninterested in stopping him. Saito and Amagiri had maneuvered nearly into striking distance of one another.
くそ、何やってんだ。
Damn it, what the hell are you doing? The brewing fight had gone from a brawl to a set of 3 duels. Ichikawa threw me an angry look just before turning to glare at Kazama. I reached for my sword, cried for backup, didn't move. Alright, here we go again. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 as always. Alright, here we go. I got a 3, so I'm gonna cry for backup. Cause I'm a wuss. I wasn't helping at all. I was utterly useless in a fight, and I knew it. What could I do then? There was only one thing. Yamazaki! We should go find Kondo!
これ以上の部外者の参入、認めるつもりはありません。
We cannot allow any further outside interference. As he spoke, Amigiri took a step towards me. He stopped just inches beyond the range of Saito's EI.
下がれ雪村。奴らの目的はお前だ。下手に動くな。
Stay back. Stay back, Hinata. You are their objective. Do not make any sudden movements.
退いてはいただけませんか。金門の時と同様、私は君と戦う理由がない。
Might we convince you to simply retreat? As at Hamaguri, I have no reason to fight you.
あいにくだが、金門の時より俺にはあんたと戦う理由がある。
Unfortunately, I have a reason to fight you. His voice was low and controlled as always, but I thought I sensed a current of tension beneath it. As he spoke, Saito moved slowly to interdict Amagiri's approach. Was he protecting me?
あくまで邪魔をするつもりですか。いいでしょう。
You intend to stand in my way then? Very well. Slowly, the giant man flexed his hands and settled into a fighting crouch. Saito's hand tightened on his sword. For several long moments, neither of them moved. The air was thick with barely contained intensity. I felt as if the earth were about to open up and swallow us whole. Seconds felt like hours as the two approached. Opponents regarded one another. A shadow drifted across the moon, and for a mere second the street was filled with shadows. There was a blur of movement. When light returned, Saito and Amigiri stood some distance apart, backs to one another as if they met for a single blow, and continued forward. A breath of wind, whether from their movement or from some other source, I didn't know, stirred my hair.
今ので仕留めるつもりだったのですが、ね。
I had intended to end this with one strike.
お互い様だ。
As had I. Neither man looked the least bit surprised or concerned that his intended death blow had been avoided. Saito's eyes narrowed to piercing blue slits as he turned to face his opponent. Amagiri turned as well, matching Saito's intensity. They stood like that for a moment, until Amagiri's glare softened. He didn't leave his fighting stance, but his arms dropped to his sides. Both men stepped back, their fight clearly finished.
これ以上の戦いは無意味ですな。長引いて興が乗っても困るでしょう。
Further fighting serves no purpose. We will do nothing more than attract unwanted attention. His voice was calm, as deep as harsh as two boulders grinding together.
俺様のことを言ってんのか？おいおい、引き際は心得てるつもりだぜ。
Yeah, what are you talking about? Come on, I know when to leave a body. I'm just gonna use Stallone, that's a little bit easier. Kazama looked at his companions momentarily, then nodded.
確かに確認は叶った以上長居をする必要もあるまい。今日は挨拶をしに来ただけだからな。
Yes, our suspicions has been confirmed. We've no need to stay. This time we've only come to say hello.
むざむざ逃がすと思うか。
Do you really believe we'll simply allow you to walk away?
くだらん虚勢はやめておけ。貴様らはまだしも騒ぎを聞きつけて集まった雑魚どもは何人死ぬか知れたものではないぞ。
Then call your men. You three may survive, but how many of your soldiers will slaughter before we escape? Would you spend their lives so easily? Or yeah. There was no doubt that Kazuma and his companions were powerful. There was no edge of arrogance in his voice, only cold fact. They left silently, fading into the darkness. But as he did, Kazama spoke to me one last time. I will soon return for you, soon! Ho 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 ho! He was far out of arm's reach, but his words felt as if they were brushed against my cheek, cold and threatening. A shiver ran up my spine. Well, are you alright, Hinata? I took the hand Harada offered and pulled myself to my feet. Hijikata was still staring intently out into the darkness, but when he spoke, it was to me.
Oi, omae.
Kid, you got any idea why they were after you? I hesitated. They had said I was one of them. Kazama had invited me to go with them. Had he been telling the truth? I don't know. I'm not sure. There was really nothing more I could say. So much had happened. My mind spun, full to bursting. Once the rest of the men returned, there was a meeting among the captains. The subject of that meeting was the three men who had appeared at Nijo Castle, Shikage Kazama, Kyuju Amagiri, and Kyo Shiranui. They had called themselves demons, and their previous encounters with the Shinsengumi suggested that they were involved, somehow, with the Satsuma and Choshu. Although it wasn't clear if the three men were members of any domain, the Satsuma and Choshu were the most vocal imperialist domains. What was clear that they, Kazuma, Amagiri, and Shiranui, were not to be taken lightly. There was another problem, however. Why had they come for me? Hichikata asked if I had any idea why they were targeting me, but I was as desperate to know as he was. They called me one of them, and they had known my last name. Kazama had pointed out my Kodachi, although I didn't understand what he'd said. I couldn't bring myself to tell Hijikata and the captains. What if they didn't believe me? I didn't believe me. My name is Hinata Yukimura. I am the daughter of my father and my mother. I am a normal girl, nothing out of the ordinary. Only a memento of my mother, my Kodachi, lay in my palm. I squeezed it tight. Who am I? June 1865. Well, that was a bit of an intense situation for Hinata. Perhaps she's learned a bit more about herself. And will this strain her relationship with the Shinsengumi? And will we see any more of that creepy blonde-haired fellow and his companions? Find out next time on Hakuōki, Stories of the Shinsengumi. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next episode.